In this video, we're going to take a look at some ways in which we can modify structural framing in Autodesk Revit. Previously, I had created some framing and I did not copy the beam systems to the roof level. And that is because we're going to use some different beams up here on the roof. For these beams to work though, we are going to have to move some of the existing beams down 2.5 inches to fit these other beams that will basically hang on the tops of these. So to start with, we are going to go to the roof plan, and I am going to select several of the beams that are running north-south on our screen. To make this a little bit easier, I'm going to hide my grid lines, so I'm just going to select one of them, then type VH to hide the category. Then I am going to begin clicking and dragging across my screen to select all of the beams that are running north-south. Now you'll actually see in the textbook, you don't actually need to select this one over here because we are not going to be adding the beam system in this bay. But one thing I want you to watch for is my properties over here. Revit seems to do something a little bit weird in this area. What I'm looking for when I select these beams is the start level offset and the end level offset. Sometimes when I select multiple ones, it doesn't give me all of those values, and it seems to be a little haphazard on how that works. So it looks like if I select all but the last one, it gives it to me. So I'm going to go ahead and go -0 space 2.5 and enter. And because I'm going to use this value a lot, I'm going to go ahead and highlight it and Control C so that I can go ahead and Control V. So that will give me the start and end level offsets of 2.5 inches below the roof level. I'll go ahead and select the next one here, and you can see that I can go ahead and Control V to paste them in. Not exactly sure why it wouldn't let me do those at the same time. If I look at this now in 3D, you can now see that these members are indeed set below the other ones 2.5 inches. I'll go ahead and continue doing that across my building here, including the curved ones. Looks like I'm good so far to have those values. I'm going to hold Control and select the next set here. I could keep going, but just to be on the safe side, I'm going to go ahead and Control V to paste my -2.5 on these so that I don't have to start completely over. Again, in this lower section here, these bays are not going to have the beam systems, so I can come in a little bit and select these. And looks like I would also need to add a few more below. Unfortunately, it looks like I'm able to enter in those values. Again, if I take a look at this in 3D, then all the ones running north and south should be down 2.5 inches, except for the ones on the end, because again, we are not going to be working with those bays there. So now that we've done that, we can go ahead and add in the beam systems. I'm going to return to my roof plan, and I'm going to load a family. So I'll go to Insert and then Load Family. I'm going to move to my class folder, and there's a Custom Families folder in there, and I'm going to select this K-Series Bar Joist Rod Web. I'll be prompted for the sizes that I want, and the size in this case is going to be the 16K7. Of course, in the real world, we would have a structural engineer that would do the calculations for us to determine exactly which member that we want. I'll go ahead and click OK to bring that one in. Then we are going to do some beam systems. So I'll return to the Structure tab and choose Beam System. This time I'm going to choose that new 16K7 here, and I'm going to set my rule to maximum spacing of 6 feet. Now I just simply want to create some systems running horizontally on my screen as we did in an earlier lesson. Notice that tag on placement is not selected, so I'm not getting the little labels for the members. We do not need to put them in the little triangular areas. This bay is going to stay empty. And the curved bays are also staying empty for now. These two bays will stay empty. You can see this one is trying to do both bays at the same time, so I'm going to have to sketch those separately. Looks like these two bays are having the same problem. I'll go ahead and place this one. I'll see if I can place one in this small bay as well. Looks like it's overlapping in there too. So I'm going to have to sketch the rest of the way here. Oh, actually, let me go ahead and add in for these two bays as well first. Then I'll select Sketch Beam System. I can use my sketching tools. I personally like the Pick Supports option. So I'm going to pick the supports around the outside here. I want to make sure I don't overlap lines, so I only picked one of these bottom ones. Then I'm going to use my trim tool to trim those together. Make sure I've got a closed-in shape there, and then click Finish. And I can see my system. Notice that it labeled them, so I am going to undo, and here in my properties, set tag new members to none. Then I'll finish one more time. So I'm going to need to repeat that process a few times here. So once again, I'll do a beam system, and then sketch my system, select the supports, and then I can pick around the outside, TR for trim, to trim these together to make one closed shape, and finish. I'll go ahead and do this again. Beam system, sketch, select supports. I'll go ahead and trim those together. And when I finish, I can actually see it didn't put any members in there. It was too small. So I'll just undo and get rid of that altogether. I'll go ahead and move on to the next one. Beam system, sketch, specify my members, TR for trim, make sure I've got a closed-in shape there, and finish. It is giving me a little message here that it can't build one. So basically the one that would have went in here was too short, so it can't create that one for us. So I'll just choose delete type. You can see the grid line of where it would have went, but it wouldn't allow us to create it. One final one, beam system, sketch, select my members. Have to make sure I get this curved arc in there as well. TR to create some corners. Finish. And there we can see my system. So let's take a look at this in 3D and see how it looks. As I zoom in here, you can see what this member looks like. It has this portion up above, which is 2.5 inches thick, that it sits on, and then the rest hangs below. That concludes this look at modifying some of our structural framing in Autodesk Revit.